Radical Radio Collective.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Eco Radio, Australia's longest running peace and environment radio show. Excuse me. Radio show. I ran out of gas at the end of that. We're taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week, endish of the month.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Also,
I think the reason that you're running out of gas there was you're just so astounded at the fact that we're the longest running peace and environment radio show.
It's pretty
in
amazing.
Australia, if not the world, and if not the universe.
Yeah. Another organisation that's having its 50th birthday this year, which 4ZZZ is SBS.
Whoa.
So 4ZZZ has been around as long as SBS. It's pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Queensland National Parks, SBS, I'm sure there's others, but it's, for a small community alternative radio station in, Brisbane, it's, pretty cool.
Especially when the era that it was initially made in, right?
Yeah. When
Senor Bjelke-Petersen was...
Did you watch the documentary that's on one of the streaming platforms at the moment? About Sir Joe Bjelke-Petersen?
No, I haven't. I might have to give that one a watch.
It's all right. I mean, it doesn't get like heaps into his corruption, but 4ZZZ is mentioned as a part of exposing or drawing attention to Cedar Bay raid. Which was a raid by the police up in Cedar Bay in North Queensland. And, they just, took out this commune for no reason. And, 4ZZZ was there to bring light on it. And,
And I believe that 4ZZZ would call Sir Bjelke-Petersen's home address, right? When he was up in
so they would just call
Kingaroy.
up the Premier and be like... Oh, what are you doing today, Joe? He's like, you're always calling me. And there's actually a really great podcast. If you want to get into the history of 4ZZZ, it's called From A to Z, or A to 4ZZZ. And it's on all your platforms of podcasts. That was, a little bit of a sidestep. But my name's Dave. My pronouns are he, him.
My name is Zack. My pronouns are he, they.
And I should start off the show by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians in the country in which we broadcast, or at least I want to start the show by paying my respects. We're located in the city Mangangin on Turrbal, Yagara and Yugambeh land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Cubby Cubby and Yinambara country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Cornamucka people, and down south we reach the Comamary, Ngarrawal, Munjali, Wandjarabara and Yugambeh countries. The documentary that we were talking about doesn't really go into the land rights movement enough in Queensland, in Brisbane. It sort of, kind of glosses over it a bit. So, there are other ways that you can get into that history. And like I said, the A to 4ZZZ episode on that era is really important and interesting.
Pig City, the book as well.
Yep, Pig City. And, we might be playing that song a little bit later. But today we're talking about war. This is a peace and environment show, and this week I've been researching what the environmental costs of war and the military are.
Combination.
Yeah, so the human cost of war is obviously, it's devastating, but the losses don't just stop there. War also exacerbates the climate crisis, which then feeds into more human environmental loss. Everything's connected, and I just want to take a little bit of a dive into that area where people aren't making a lot of research, but there is some. So we will do that after the break, after I play this song. This is Bullet Bitch by Bush Poetry. You're listening to 4ZZZ Eco Radio.
Your weekly dose of science on 4ZZZ is now available as a podcast.
I learned that you can hear the difference between different water temperatures when they're poured. I'm going to pour one after the other into a different glass, and you have to tell me which one is which temperature. I've got a hot and a cold. Right, here's the first one. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm saying cold.
It sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Here's the second one. Well played.
Shut up.
Search No Idea 4ZZZ on your favourite podcasting app. That's spelled KNOW, like no idea. It's a visual pun on an audio platform. I don't know why we did it.
You're listening to Eco Radio. We just heard then from Bush Poetry with their song Bullet Bitch. It's a great song about the military-industrial complex. And I also wanted to thank No Idea for such a great show. I love talking about orcas and the weird things they do. The pod down in New South Wales, they used to help whalers catch other whales, like sperm whales and things. You can go down and see the skeleton of a whale called Old Tom, which has got rope grooves like in its teeth, because it used to grab onto the rope of the harpoons and help them drag the whale in to the boats.
This is just furthering my distrust of the ocean, Dave.
Yeah, it might do, actually.
Orcas are up there with chimpanzees for me for animals that I wouldn't say I do fear them the most.
Yeah, they're pretty scary.
They concern me the most. You know, have you ever seen a chimpanzee on Adderall?
No.
Scary sight.
No, I haven't. Not something I plan to see anyways.
No, don't give the Adderall to the orcas either. That'll be...
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the amount of boats they'll be sinking after that. Oh.
Yeah, attacking the pleasure craft and
once
stuff.
They're locked in.
So, I quite like orcas because of that. Yeah. Anyways, we are talking about the environmental cost of war today. And on the outset, I should tell everyone that, I was in the Navy. I don't know if I'm totally against militaries. Sometimes the militaries are called in. You need some sort of standing force, especially for the emergencies, natural disasters, bushfires, cyclones, and obviously we get used wrongly, like with the Northern Territory intervention to intimidate Aboriginal people. So it's not all good. But what do I mean when I say the environmental cost of militaries? So there's the destruction to the landscape, the physical stuff, the bombing, chemical and fire damage. There's the release of greenhouse gases, because they are such a big industry. There's a lot of greenhouse gases that gets released with that. There's also the running of fossil fuel platforms in the land, air and sea. There's the long-term pollution, making areas uninhabitable, like the testing of nuclear weapons.
With that, isn't that what SpongeBob is based off? So
Bikini Atoll.
Yes, Bikini Atoll up in the Marshall Islands is where the US was testing some of their nuclear weapons. Yeah, and that's how you get the name Bikini Bottom. Yeah, in SpongeBob.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a subversive, like mutant sea sponge. Yeah, that happens there. So the destruction of landscape. This can happen in armed conflicts between nations, but also in peacetime and training. So not far from the studios here in Fortitude Valley is the Greenbank firing range, located obviously in Greenbank. Greenbank residents have complained about the noise pollution for years and have found unexploded ordnance dumped on the side of the road. So that's obviously then a physical hazard. There's obviously more destructive examples in current conflicts, like the scorched earth tactics taking place in Ukraine, Ukrainian authorities have accused Russia of a drone strike with a high explosive warhead that struck the former Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
Is that what you're referring to when you say scorched earth tactic?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they want to ruin the place for people that live there.
Gotcha.
The scorched earth tactic is also used in Gaza and Myanmar, and I'm sure other places. So the drone strike attacked the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, damaging the protective shield, which is called the sarcophagus, which was built following the 1986 disaster in order to prevent further radiation leaks. Russia also occupies the Ukrainian, I'm going to ruin the name, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Okay.
So Russia blew up the Nova Kakhovka dam as well. This is another tactic of destroying the landscape. So this released 83,000 tonnes of heavy metals, which included lead, cadmium and nickel. Researchers say the environmental impact from the dam explosion was comparable to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
Right, that is pretty severe.
Yeah.
Was this a man-made dam?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's obviously the flooding is one aspect, and then there's just the ruining of the land after the water dissipates.
Yes.
Because of that build-up of heavy metals, making it uninhabitable.
Even just like the initial flooding would cause a lot of environmental damages, as you've said. But at least in my mind, this might return some of like the original streams and rivers and
I mean that sort of stuff needs to be done purposefully.
You can't do it willy-nilly like that. It wasn't done with good intentions.
No. Over in Myanmar, the junta's military has increasingly carried out aerial and artillery attacks using explosive weapons in populated areas. This is increasing the risk of resulting in indiscriminate attacks. Myanmar is one of only 4 countries using banned cluster munitions and landmines. So that's where the unexploded ordnance in an area, the landmines and these cluster bombs that don't go off, will stay in the landscape for years and years and years, and it takes the UN 40 years to get around to making that area safe again for people to live. The scorched earth tactic is obviously happening in Gaza, and the particulate pollution that people will be breathing in will be seen for years to come. So that's all that rubble and destruction that people are breathing that in, and that is also one of the environmental hazards that people are dealing with. So what about greenhouse gas emissions?
So just to go back to your scorched earth tactic, if folks remember or know of Agent Orange in Vietnam, presumably some of the genetic issues that causes in people would also occur in the animals that's been affected by it. And again, that seems like a very... I don't know if it's necessarily akin to like a scorched earth tactic, but it is a long-lasting effect of something.
And so that was a particular chemical that was specifically to attack the environment. It was a defoliate
herbicide.
It was a herbicide to attack the trees and make areas more visible from aerial reconnaissance. That's another great example of the environmental cost of war. Those chemicals also live on in people, and have caused cancers and then a lot of other health issues.
Presumably, and the animals local to it as well.
So what about greenhouse gas emissions that the militaries create? So there's a conflict and environment observatory they estimate that militaries are responsible for 5.5% of all greenhouse gas emissions globally. However, this is hard to calculate because many militaries are exempt from reporting. There is a website that estimates what they are making those, so you can go to militaryemissions.org, and they say that there is a very, so for example, Australia, they say that there's a very significant gap in Australia's Defence Force emissions reporting. So the ADF has reported, whereas the ADF says that they've calculated their emissions to be over 2 million tonnes of CO2 in the 2023-2024 reporting year. It seems that this is a small amount of what is actually being created, considering we are ranked number 15 for military expenditure in the world, just above Canada, which is pretty crazy, right? Number 15.
Yeah. So, like, especially when considering the population of Australia, it's like, you know, per capita one of the highest in the world.
Yeah.
Which, like, it kind of makes sense given the size of our country as well.
Yeah, and we are per capita one of the largest emissions creators as well.
Yeah, per
capita.
It
might be the top,
largest. Yeah.
So we are ranked number 15 for military expenditure in the world, just above Canada. So Canada says that they emit 5 million tonnes of greenhouse gases. Indirectly, high levels of military spending diverts resources away from solving environmental problems and away from sustainable development as well.
Yeah.
So not only are we is our military like producing the greenhouse gases, but it also takes away the funds that could go towards solving some emissions problems.
Yeah. I suppose mentioning that as well, it's obviously with Trump asking for 5% expenditure on NATO countries as well, it's likely that the greenhouse emissions of some of these European countries through their military expenditure is likely going to increase.
Yep.
Is a fair assessment, I suppose.
So whatever the number is there, it's a huge amount of greenhouse gases being produced by our military. I don't think it's 2 million tonnes. I think it's more than that. And that's in so-called peacetime, right?
Yeah.
And so when war ramps up, the first three, this is one example, the first 3 years of Russia's invasion of Ukraine generated 230 million tonnes of CO2. This is equivalent to the annual emissions of Austria, Hungary, Czech Republic and Slovakia combined.
Dang.
So that's a huge mass of what the world is creating already. The Kuwait oil field fires of the Gulf Wars and the oil fires in Afghanistan and Iraq produced more emissions while depleting the resource that the countries were fighting over. The CO2 emissions from the burning oil and gas in Kuwait has been estimated to be about 130 to 140 million tonnes. So that's corresponding to 2 to 3% of the global annual anthropogenic contribution from the use of fossil fuel, according to the International Institute for Applied System Analysis.
Would that put Russia's expenditure during like the Ukraine war about double that? So 6%? Did you mention?
Yeah, so Russia was 230 million tonnes.
230, a bit less.
Yeah. So,
5%.
Yeah, so Russia is dwarfing that again.
Yeah, jeez.
And that was, for Russia, that was just during the first 3 years.
During the first 3 years, yeah.
So these wars are, for the most part, about resources. So let's factor in the mining industries that profit. In some African countries like Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, Russian military intelligence, the GRU, is being given mineral rights to bolster regimes. The mercenaries in these countries have been accused of war crimes and are being rewarded with gold mines. So that's in the use of all the electronic items that we're using, all the new sort of sustainable or e-waste, e-products that we have. The mercenaries in these countries have been accused of war crimes. Even before the rumblings of war began, there is a huge amount of resources used in testing of weapons. The United States, the USSR, the United Kingdom, France, and China became nuclear powers during 1945 and 1964. During this period, a large number of nuclear tests were conducted in all global environments, so it's land, sea, air. All up, 2,056 nuclear tests were conducted. About half of those were conducted by the United States alone. So we talk about Bikini Atoll. This is one of America's most famous testing sites.
I think while I'm thinking of one, the UK did a nuclear test off the coast of Western Australia off the northwest coast of Western Australia at one point as well.
Well, our most famous test is in Maralinga. I'll get to one. All good. So one of America's most famous test sites, Bikini Atoll, it can be visited now, but plants or fish can't be eaten in the area. And that was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Closer to home, the United Kingdom tested their nuclear weapons in South Australia at Maralinga. British and Australian servicemen were purposefully exposed to fallout from the blast to study the radiological effects, and the Inangu people from the area weren't even told that tests were going to take place. In 1995, efforts were made to clean up the site. Tons of soil and debris were contaminated with plutonium and uranium. They were buried in 2 trenches about 16 metres deep, and it was found in 2021 that radioactive hot particles persist in the soil. So this plutonium is likely to be absorbed by wildlife at Maralinga as well. So not able to maintain a subsistence lifestyle there. Everything will have to be brought in. That's from 1964 to 2021. It still persists. There are people living there, but it can't be a particularly nice one. There is also the dumping of waste out to sea. So according to the Chermside, who look at this, the Soviet Union dumped at least 50,000 tonnes of chemical munitions containing an estimated 15,000 tonnes of chemical warfare agents in the Baltic Sea. So, what can we do about it? In the first 15 months of Israel's bombing of Gaza, the carbon emissions exceeded 378,000 metric tonnes of CO2. Does this even matter when people are suffering? What happens is wars are started, which fuels the climate crisis, which will make resources more scarce and competition for them greater. Then we fuel more emissions by competing for them. So I don't have much hope for you today, but we'll come back with some wise words from Wavy Beach after some songs. That's the environmental cost of war in a nutshell.
Well, I'm certainly keen on hearing what Wavy has to say afterwards, because it'll be a bit of a nice palate cleanser. Hopefully. I really, I don't know what to say. The only thing we can do is stop wars, and we haven't been able to do that yet, and it seems like everything's ramping up again. Get to the streets. Take to the streets. Let's go out with a song. This is Tape Off with Fort Sensible. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio.
I love
I actually think that we should probably clean up that dirty water. The brown snake, wouldn't it be nice to have a river where we could, go swimming, or not be afraid of getting some sort of infection if you touch the water?
I think having a river called the Brown Snake is pretty cool, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. We just heard then from Arugula with their song Dirty Water, and before that was Tape Off with Fort Sensible. We've been talking about what war costs on the environment, what military costs on the environment. We've been getting some texts in. Stacey texted in saying green energy production also destroys habitat. I mean, all mining does. The Kingy texted in saying, not to mention depleted uranium and phosphorus from ordnance. Yep, there's obviously the waste products there that I didn't get into. Where does our toxic waste go? I didn't cover that. And Stephen texted in saying that he loves the show and the topic. And so if you love what we do here on 4ZZZ, you can become a subscriber. We are a subscription-based radio station. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this before Patreon, before any of those other types of models were around. And you can become part of the family for as little as $25 if you're under 18 or a pet. Full subscription.
You have to subscribe for a pet. I suspect a pet can't subscribe for itself. Unless someone's into that.
Yeah, I don't know what crazy scientists are doing at the moment. But if you do subscribe this month, you go in the running to win the Garage Sounds Record Store $200 gift certificate, which is a fantastic subscriber prize this month.
It is.
You also go in the running. You don't go into the running. You are able to get discount tickets for all of the fantastic Z50 gigs that are happening this year. I'm really looking forward to a lot of those, and I really enjoy all the history of this station. We are going to play you a sermon, I suppose, to alleviate your stress and worries about war. This is from legend of Eco Radio, Wavy Beach. And this is his impromptu sermon from atop the mountain. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio.
Good day, eco-radical listening folk. Welcome to a pseudo-sermon from the side of the mount. Give and take equally what you will, and come together in the name of the true believers of 4ZZZ. Acknowledging the ancient old ways, this winter solstice, none older than the rising of the sun and the setting of the moon. The kookaburra pounces on a bug. The kites get their nest again together to grow another baby. The seeds form on the trees that I've planted, and I'll just try to get amongst it to catch those seeds and encourage growth of more. But from those darkest places of the longest nights, we see what is befalling the world around us. As might becomes right once again, and wealth is as wealth does. World leaders do as world leaders do. Snub one for another. We can't be surprised by such things. But I would just seek myself to make the most of what I have. Whatever it is, where I sit in this place, as we all sit where we are in this place, so many billions of us humans, aware or not aware, to whatever level, we can't be sure, but we just keep acting, rising with the sun and setting with the moon. Crying in anguish, expressing righteous rage at constant injustice, about which, though, we again cannot be surprised, as wealth is, as wealth does. This monetary wealth, in particular military wealth that has its way over us, well, I do my best to not do what they say, but just as I, myself, maybe many of you, will not automatically bend to the demands of others, well, so will they not necessarily bend to yours. The power games that play out in amongst us all in our smallest sphere, that play out also in the largest sphere in similar ways. So we just must do as we do, watch the seeds grow, seeds such as were planted 50 years ago by a few folks on a university to grow a radio station, which continued to fertilise further seeds, such as myself and those that you listen to, coming to full flower under the moon of bands. In many respects, the best we can do is spread such warm inner glow that we benefit from, that we enjoy, and that we spread amongst each other, so that we can take solace this solstice to be as strong together in the face of it all and continue to uplift each other towards the spring once again and move forward to the next round and put that foot down in front of the other, trying to feel the earth as you do for all the benefits that it can give to you. You and us as we share together to make the best and do our best to keep glowing in the warm inner glow. Zed. You have been with Wave, the son of a preacher man of Aussie German Lutherans. I seek to give what gifts I can offer in the name of peace and in the ways of agitate, educate, organise. Go forth and be kind.
Are you looking to hide large sums of money this tax season? Cayman Islands are a little too far away?
Make an iffy donation this iffy and support independent community radio while you're at it.
No mega yachts, no taxman drama, just good, honest community radio.
Head to support.4ZZZ.org.au to make an iffy, that's an end of financial year donation today.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realise I was a seed.
You're listening to Eco Radio, the radio of the future. The future.
You are listening to Eco Radio, the radio of the future. Thank you, small child. Do you think we need to start expanding our synchronicity into different areas, Dave?
No, just get lazy with what we've got.
We can learn one to do over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, maybe just for this year because it's Zed's 50th year.
Oh, we could learn 50 of them?
Oh, no.
Yes, let's do it.
We just heard then from Shifting Sands with their song Hibiscus. That was a request from Marky. Marky, fantastic subscriber, friend of the show, is working at White's Hill today and requested that song. I love that song because I love native hibiscuses.
It's a real nice song. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, such a nice song. And the native hibiscus that we have in our local area is so great, and they attract the harlequin beetle that just swarm to the flowers at the right times. And it's just so colourful and so nice. And I'm a big fan.
I would be a harlequin beetle if I was an insect. Just a bit of a jokester. A bit silly.
Are they?
Oh, I mean, it's harlequin. Harlequin, yeah.
I don't know what type of beetle I'd be. Probably a rhinoceros beetle.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see many of them around the
They're sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the harlequin beetle is actually a bug, but
Okay, well, we're going to have to get into what the difference between a beetle and a bug is, but that's a different time. We're going to play another interview, an interview that Wavy Beach did on the weekend up in the mountains. And, we'll go into that right now because we're quickly running out of time. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Wavy Beach.
What is Nourish Street? This is Wave reporting for 4ZZZ from the 2025 Tambourine Mountain Edible Garden Trail, where it will happen again next year and around the Gold Coast. And get yourself to a garden trail near you to check out somebody's place with a bit of a sticky beak and meet some people and chat and get to know an area that you'd like to get to. Have fun. Bye. What is Nourish Street?
Yeah, so Nourish Street was founded by a legend called Bo. He's a man that has fought his own addictions, and he's just decided that he wanted to help people in a position that he was in for quite a long time, to show that there's community out there for people that basically need a helping hand. So he's created a charity 12 months ago.
Right.
And from there, he's now got a warehouse. He goes out pretty much every night now and feeds people that are living rough, clothes them, gives them tents, bedding, a whole bunch of stuff. So, really great cause. And we're really hoping that it goes from a Moreton Bay, Brisbane thing to, compounds and potentially into Logan City and Gold Coast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, absolutely legend. I've been out with him for a couple of months now, doing a lot of on the ground kind of stuff with him. That's why I've got the shirts there, trying to help him any way I can, to talk about it. And
so he started it, but also got plenty of people involved on his side as well.
Mate, it's amazing. Like a Thursday, he does a community barbecue in Redcliffe at Sutton's Beach, and it's just a community barbecue. So anyone can come down, have a burger, have a chat to some people, and it's not discriminating. It's not like, it's just for homeless people. It's just trying to get community to, just to talk to each other.
For sure.
It's great. So
sounds like all the right reasons for things. Like it's not any business or anything like that.
Well, no. Well, it's something that, that's why I started my business, is just champions that I'm finding along the way, So small business and then people that are just doing great things for the community. So Bo's one of those people. So, that's where I'm at, and that's where he's at, and hopefully we can do some great things together.
So your business, you've got a stall here at the Tambourine Mountain Edible Gardens Trail, is a whole little shop of stuff. Yeah,
Tomorrow's General Store, which is basically I started with the product at the front, Red Soil Organics, just helping a friend there, and then, going to community-based things like this, finding other awesome local businesses that, are trying their hardest to get out and promote. But I'm just like, well, if you can't be there, then I'd love to be there for you, So that's just how it's all just conspired to this you see now, and there's more people that I'm bringing online with garden tools and other sort of health and wellbeing things. And,
so look out for you around southeast Queensland at any gardeny, greeny looking event.
Exactly. I'll be at Botanical Bazaar in about a month's time, and then I do a lot of stuff around Brisbane because that's sort of where I'm based, and I get out of bed early every day, so Yeah.
Nice job. And you are?
Gavin. Yeah.
Good one.
Your
Cheers.
name is, mate?
Wave. I'm Wave.
Wave. Nice to meet you, mate.
Hang on, sorry, I'll just stop.
That was a nice interview from Wavy Beach up on the mountain. I'm looking forward to getting more from Wavy as the year rolls on. But we are fast running out of time, and we need to do something that I like to call the Bushcare Roundup.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds, and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
It is the Bushcare Roundup, and this is a list of all the things, environment and peace, that you can get involved in this week. Although it's not everything, it's not comprehensive. It's just a snapshot for your listening and looking pleasures. You can find this on our social media as well as on the website 4ZZZ.org.au. Starting off Thursday, the 26th, 7:30am, you can go to the Lota Cliffs Habitat Group Bushcare Working Bee. That's at that's at Grace Street. And Saturday, the 28th, at 7:30, you can go to the Mookin-Bah Working Bee. That's 106 Greencamp Road, Wakerley. At 8:30am, you can go to the Gertrude Petty Place Bushcare Working Bee. That's 26 Mount Gravatt, Alec Drive, Mount Gravatt. At 9 o'clock, you can go to the June Bushcare Working Bee at Chermside Hills Reserve, Chermside West. And at 2pm, you can go to the Bushcare Working Bee at Nicholson Street in Greenslopes.
On Sunday the 29th from 8 till 10am, there is the Cicada Park Bushcare. That one is at Cicada Park at Chapel Hill. At 8am, there is the June Bushcare Working Bee at Thredbo Place Park, in Belmont. Then from 8 till 10, another June Bushcare Working Bee. That one is 100A Jean Street in Grange. And then at 1pm, after all the bushcare, you can head to the Justice of Palestine rally, and that one is at Redcliffe Place, Brisbane.
All right, thank you so much for listening in today. Stick around for the coolest cat on radio, Jordan with Sonic Aliens. Today she's interviewing the Empty Threats and Tomorrow's Forecast. Jam-packed. Yeah, this will go out with a song to make us seem cool. This is Pig City by Sacred Hearts. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This has been Eco Radio.